and welcome to Gilmore's Glorious Gossip, a show dedicated to Critical Role over on the Geek and Sundry Twitch channel. This week features three more amazing artists. The current art you're seeing is a very well done 50th episode piece from Hugo Cardenas, also known as at Takayuki_art. That's TAKAYUUKI over on Twitter. And there were many, many great artists that did 50th episode pieces. We just don't have enough time to get them all on here, and getting permission to use them all would just be a big mess. So if you want to see that, there will be a link down in the description below to the actual... what's it called?
Gallery.
The gallery, thank you. That's over on Geek and Sundry. Later, you'll be seeing pieces from Ionis Santos. I hope I said that correctly. That's at ISIANTOS over on Twitter. And Matches at Busy Matches. If you'd like your art featured here, please let any of the show's hosts know via Twitter, and we'll do our best to get it on the show. The show actually now has its own official Twitter account. That's at Gilmore_gossip. So if you want to contact us through there, you can do that as well. Feel free to follow us there. We'll make sure that we keep the commentary over on that Twitter dedicated to Critical Role. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can catch us each and every Monday. I'm Akiva, found on Twitter at AKIVADAPHYDD, Akiva David. And joining me today are my excellent friends and a special guest. Let's introduce yourselves and tell us, what is it that draws you to a particular race and class? Not necessarily a specific...
Hello.
Not a specific race and class combination, just one race, one class.
Alright, well, hello everybody. I'm Kalia, also known as at Cosmic Candy, CANDI, over on Twitter. And I am very, very fond of high elves, and specifically I tend to take the moon elf subrace for them. The reason I like high elves is because of the starting cantrip that they get, and also their racial bonuses tend to fit well with classes that I choose. I tend to pick fighters or paladins. You guys know how big of a fan I am of paladins. But I primarily will pick a fighter or paladin, primarily the fighter, because they are so versatile. You can do just about anything with a fighter.
Nice.
That's true. Yeah. Hi guys, I'm Kat or Kitten Smitten G on Twitter. You can also find me playing Rin, a sorcerer in Legacy, which is a critter D&D. I usually like to choose my race and class based on story. So I'll come up with a story that I really like, and then I'll kind of fit a class and race into that, which sometimes ends up being not particularly the most best min-maxed options that you could think of, which would annoy my husband quite constantly whenever we do one-shots or that. And I remember I played an arcane trickster rogue or something like that, and he just looked at me and said, "Why?" I said, "Because I have a really good story." So
story-driven characters are often the most dynamic.
Yeah. And we have a guest.
Indeed.
Yes, indeed. My name is Amber. You may know me as CA Block or at A Full Margin on the Twitters. I am also Gilmore Vac Shipper over on Geek and Sundry and on Twitch.
I'm joining the ship.
It is the best ship. My character race, can it be overall or just currently available?
Overall.
Oh. Overall, I love, and I'm one of the minority, but I absolutely love the Kinder.
Interesting.
I have.
You've been talking to Ozai.
I have a very sweet, soft place in my heart for Kinder. if I had to go current, I would have to say halflings. I'm a big fan of halflings. Along with that, my my class of choice is almost always rogues. I love, love, love rogues. I've been playing a Pathfinder rogue for about 8 years. And I've actually just rolled my first 5th edition rogue recently. So
Nice.
it's a thing. Yeah, I'm really enjoying the changes.
Well, very interesting choice on the race, definitely. Overall, my particular race of choice is the pixie. They're just simply because they're so small.
Oh.
The bonus to stealth, the fact that there are places I can go that other creatures can't reach, and just so many open possibilities. I mean, yeah, they're smaller, meaning that, they're also slower and probably a little more fragile, but so much to do. As for class, that really depends on the edition. With 3rd edition and Pathfinder and going all the way back to 2nd edition, it was always rogue, always the thief type. But with 5th edition,
Fuck yeah, rogues.
with 5th edition, monks are just so mechanically similar to the way I like to play my rogues, so I go for that. But I'm starting to look. There have been enough people that have been talking about the Pally Rogue, and I blame Kalia for starting this conversation.
Yes, blame me all you want to. I embrace the blame wholeheartedly because, please pardon the expression, y'all are going to be eating crow when we find out that Vax is a paladin.
He is not a paladin. I'll give you Deathstalker, but I don't think he's going paladin. And that's just because I don't think that's what Liam wants. Mechanically, it makes great sense. Thematically, it makes great sense. And I love the idea of a Pally Rogue, and I think I'm going to play that should one of my current characters go off to do their own thing. But that brings us to the 50th episode.
Oh God, this episode.
Well, let's actually start pre-episode. That new intro.
Oh my
New
God.
intro's freaking amazing.
Oh man, if there's anybody who's watching it who got in late to the actual episode and hasn't gone back to rewatch it, if you guys haven't seen that new intro, you have to see it. It is so awesome.
Well, they played it like 5 times throughout the episode. They played it right at the very beginning during announcements. Then they played it again after they thanked everybody for the announcements. And then they played it again when they went to break.
And then they played it again at the end,
when they came
4
back
times.
from the break. they played it like 5.
They only played it once during the break. But they played it twice at the beginning of the episode, once during the break, and once at the end of the break.
I'm still not bored.
But still.
I'll watch it again. And
Yeah,
again.
They did play it again at the end of the show, too.
Yeah, like I said. Once
Because
at
I
the
just
break,
finished
once
the
at
episode.
end. Yeah.
For like an hour.
But so if you guys haven't seen it, go see it. It's great.
And
I've been
Someone's
asking.
going on in the background, too.
Say again? What'd you say, Kalia?
I said there was so much going on in the background too, like little flourishes of characters. Like you've got Vex's Wink that shows up. You've got Scanlan and his Overnote where he's doing the lightning. Then you've got Matt in the background. You pointed this out, Akiva. I didn't actually notice it the first time around, but you've got Matt at the very end of it saying, how do you want to do this? And then the whole table cheers. It's just awesome. Those little pieces there.
Did
Oh,
anyone happen to get a sense of whose mask Matt was wearing? Because I was like, is that Allura? Which one is that?
no, I don't think it is an enemy that we've actually
Non-specific.
seen.
Hmm.
But at the same token, because it was a real quick shot, it was definitely a female's face. But he took it
Yeah.
off at the mask, and I think it was just an overarching. Yeah, well, it's a mask. Matt plays every role.
Every role. Yeah.
Yeah,
It could have been Lady Briarwood.
it could have been,
Possibly.
but and Ashley's back in the studio.
Yes.
Hey.
Oh, real quick on the new intro. Matt said on his Periscope last night that the armor that he was wearing for that was his armor from Mythica 5. They actually let him keep it.
Yes.
After
That's so
films
cool.
included. So that's his I can't remember the character's name. But that's that character's armor
Yes.
from Mythica.
And the bracers that he was wearing at the beginning of the episode were from that armor as well. And I want those bracers. I want those bracers. But yeah,
fantastic.
Ashley is back in the studio for a few months while they're taking their break from shooting Blind Spot.
Mm-hmm.
And we go into the episode. Matt does his little recap, and before we actually get into the episode, one thing I want to bring up: there was a lot of confusion from both the Critters D&D chat and the Geek and Sundry chat as for exactly how many levels of exhaustion Grog had. So I rewatched the 49th episode, and he did indeed pick up a third level of exhaustion fighting the Sphinx.
Was that
So
falling
that
out
would
of
mean
rage?
that
So
yeah, because of his
his
yeah.
frenzied rage.
Yeah.
So he did indeed have 3 levels. So although it was delayed,
all of his rolls were at disadvantage.
all of his rolls were at disadvantage.
I do want to say, though, good on Travis for owning up to that. I mean, everybody screamed and it was awful, but good on
Yes.
Travis.
So in case you're curious,
He thought about it.
in case you're curious as to what we're talking about, the episode opened up. They just been teleported outside the cave, and they're dealing with the fact that they were getting their asses kicked by that Sphinx. There's a little bit of. Did anybody else take? I don't know if it was intended or if it was just me reading into it. It seemed like Keyleth was flirting with Vax because he had gotten older, and she was, she mentioned that it looked good on him.
I think we've established Keyleth likes Vax. Oh my god, I did it! Oh no!
And you did it in the
I did
notes
the
too.
Vax thing. No. I think she still likes him. I think there's something still there. She hasn't cut it off completely. In those kinds of moments, it was awkward, but kind of, oh, maybe there's still a chance.
It was
Possibly.
Keyleth awkward.
Yes.
But
Well, I mean, the thing was, there was definitely that undertone there, Akiva. I don't think you're alone in that, because
Okay.
when I rewatched it, I definitely saw that she was doing the shy schoolgirl thing because she was avoiding eye contact and looking away, but she was giving him the compliment.
yeah,
So, yeah, it was definitely there.
We all just love Silver Fox Vax. Come on.
well, if he ages well, he ages well. But I just found it interesting because for the past few episodes, ever since Keyleth had said, "I don't know if I can allow myself," it had almost seemed like the players were like, "Okay, well, let's take that as a sign that it's not going anywhere, and we'll just leave it out." And then this pops up, and it's like they're trying to keep it on the knife edge. Maybe, I don't know.
I kind of maybe get that impression, but I also get a lot of the impression that it's complicated. Anything involving Vox Machina in general is going to be really freaking complicated.
Yes.
And then you put Vax into the mix, and it's just like, okay, Vax, you know what? Just nothing but complicated.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, they haven't exactly had a whole lot of time for themselves either here lately, so that makes it even more complicated because
True.
now you're not able to devote time to each other. So I'm sure once we defeat Thordak or maybe one of the other dragons and we get a little bit of time to rest, there may be some more development there.
Yeah, once they get that actual downtime. So, but yeah, they decide to go ahead and heal up, and they take a short rest that made the world scream.
Yep.
So, if you haven't seen it, the actual stats for Craven Edge have been released, and I will put a link to a picture of it down in the description below. But
Yeah, Matt released those on his Dropbox account.
Yes.
That's where it was originally released.
So, on a short rest, Craven Edge goes back to normal. And when he does so...
Because it was in Super Saiyan form.
Yes. When it does so, it gets hungry again, instantly.
But extra hungry.
And this
Like
time...
crazy hungry.
This time it ate Grog.
I'll swallow your soul! I'll swallow your soul!
Very much so. So, when they do the short rest, at the beginning of the short rest, Matt has Travis roll a Constitution save. And he rolls a natural 20.
Nat 20. Nat 20.
And so they continue their short rest, and then Travis remembers Grog is exhausted at 3rd level.
Yep.
And I don't remember, because he was perfectly content going along, and I think he had genuinely forgotten about it, because then something comes up in conversation and spurs the, oh crap, I've got exhaustion, and his face just sinks.
They were talking about if they get their years back, because they were aged in the Sphinx fight, and they were talking about that, and that's when Travis realizes, oh crap, I'm exhausted. His face falls, and he doesn't want to say anything, but he knows he has to.
Yeah.
Well, and even Sam and Liam were like, be honest,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and then they said good on ya, afterward, even though though what's coming next happens.
Yeah, when he rolled that second time,
Oh, man.
it was a nat 1.
And his head instantly hit his palms. Both palms,
Yeah.
just instantly. And Marisha refused to believe it, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. She's like, you couldn't. No, you're joking. You're pranking us, right? And Travis is like, nope.
What are
Well,
the
what are
odds?
the chances? I know, it's crazy.
Calculating the
It's like
chances
50%.
to hit both a nat 20 and a nat 1,
Yeah,
5%.
yeah. Huh.
Back-to-back rolls like that. Now, Harmony, my daughter, during Adventures League, she did the reverse. She hit nat 1, then nat 20. During an attack, she had advantage she forgot about, but she had allies nearby. She was playing the rogue at the time, and this was funny. She had rolled 2 back-to-back nat 20s, then she rolled the nat 1, then she rolled the nat 20. So that kid was on a hot streak that night.
Wow.
Nice.
So, with his soul pulled into the sword, Grog falls over dead, and there's panic as they try to figure out how to bring him back, trying to figure out which spell to use, and so on and so forth. Ashley finally...
Everyone in chat is just like, 50th episode, Matt, you can't do this to us.
I
On the
know!
50th episode.
Not
5
even-
minutes in.
Not even
All
10
that
minutes into
makeup.
the episode, and somebody's already dead.
And what kept
All
going
that
through my mind
makeup,
too
man.
is they've just finished doing that intro video.
I know.
Yeah, that was the common thread that everybody kept coming back to. You just finished the video. You just gave us the new intro. You can't do this.
And
They have to redo the whole thing, man.
just think if they had failed the revive. Oh man.
Oh,
But so they Pike casts Revivify, and the ritual begins. Vex uses ale, almost drowning him, but getting some into his stomach, and has to roll a persuasion roll. She gets a 16, which lowers the difficulty by 3. Vax prays to the Raven Queen with a religion check, gets a 15, but the Raven Queen just says, I don't give a fuck. All deaths have their place.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
that shook me though. I was seriously freaking out whenever Vax outright said, I will do this.
Yeah.
I will willingly take this on. I seriously, I had
back on it
goosebumps.
now.
Liam,
Thinking
man.
back on it now, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just Liam was absolutely amazing in that moment. Just he literally gave me goosebumps. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So, thinking back on it now, the purpose of Grog's death was to get rid of Craven Edge.
I don't think it was the purpose, unless you're talking about like in the grand scheme of things. I don't think it was planned.
No.
Oh, it probably was not planned. I mean, that was something that Craven Edge does, but looking at Matt, and as good of a storyteller as he is, even on the fly, all deaths have a purpose, and the purpose right now is to get rid of Craven Edge.
Or at least
I think
reveal what Craven Edge really is.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, they could have kept it.
Yeah.
They could have.
So I took the Raven Queen's answer to mean that was a fail, which raised the DC by 2. And then Scanlan uses a potion of Fire Giant Strength, rolling an Arcana check of 18, which I took as a success, lowering it by another 3. And assuming that Matt was going by what he had said previously, where the difficulty starts at 10, that brings the final DC to a 6. Matt rolls, takes a picture of
12.
it takes a picture of
a 12.
Another 12, which was the same roll that
Same die.
Vex. Yeah, same die, same roll that Vex had gotten. But before he reveals it to the party, Percy decides he's going to pull his shadow out.
Oh man,
That was
that
so
was
awesome.
so cool.
Now, a lot of people were asking, where did the shadow come from? And he's no longer being ridden by a demon.
No.
Right, but Matt had explained in a previous episode that Orthax had been with Percy for so long that it just leaves an indelible mark there.
Yes.
So that's where this shadow that Percy pulls out is coming from. It's from that indelible mark, or that scar, if you will.
Yeah,
That's why
the way
he's Hex
yeah,
and all of those. Yeah.
the way I like to explain it is, Orthax had filled a space within Percy with power, and when Orthax was kicked out, that left a void, and so Percy has, in a sense, learned how to use that void to pull power of his own.
And realistically, I love that at that same time, Taliesin took the Magic Initiate, because it just fit in so thematically perfectly. Like, okay, here's what's filling that void. That this mark has left this on you. I thought that was perfect.
Yep.
So Matt then reveals Grog wakes up in a rage. And Kalia, you
Put it
just went
back.
robotic.
Where it came from, or so help me. Ah,
Bye,
son of
everybody.
a. Am I back now?
Yes, you're back.
Yes.
Okay, so Percy tells Craven Edge, put that thing back where it came from, or so help me, so help me, so help me.
Only a little more actual terrorizing.
He was a little bit. He was a little bit more terse with it.
But
That was
yeah,
great.
Grog wakes up
Evil
in a raise
standoff.
and is choking Scanlan.
Mm.
And then an argument ensues.
No gnomes today, man.
I know,
That-
right?
You know what? Thinking about what you said, Kalia, though, that was kind of what guided me more toward, oh, Matt totally wants this to go this way. Because he was very much like, okay, you are going to hurt all the people you love until this thing goes away.
Well, from a DM standpoint, because, Kat
okay.
and Akiva and I, we're all DMs.
Mm-hmm.
So taking a look at it from a DM standpoint, Craven Edge is incredibly powerful, and I don't think Matt ever intended for Craven Edge to fall into the hands of the party.
Yeah.
I think
At
he
least not
expected
for
that.
long.
Right. I think he expected that they would kill Lord Briarwood, and then they immediately went on to go after Delilah, and he wasn't expecting them to loot it. So I think that it's kind of skewed some of the battles. As a DM, it's difficult enough to plan a combat without magical items. Planning the combat with the magical items, especially something as incredible as Craven Edge is, it can get tiresome real quick. So I honestly do think that it was a way to get rid of Craven Edge, but do it in a story way and not something that felt forced, like just Matt going, Travis, you have to give up Craven Edge.
Yeah.
I can't allow it anymore.
I think he probably kind of expected Grog to get rid of it sooner, because everyone kind of knew it was really evil and bad things were happening. It just wasn't happening.
Yep.
Well, and Travis tried a couple times, but he kept failing his wisdom save.
Yeah.
That's true.
So the party, after a little bit of arguing and such, to which Grog is pouting at the end, they decide that they're going to send the sword off to a different plane, specifically the pocket dimension of the Golden Eye Boy, or the Dread Emperor as he was known. Which I thought is a lot of spells like planar shift and such focus on moving creatures, but Matt made a DM call that I am very much in agreement with.
I was too.
Yeah, why wouldn't it be able to be used on an object?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Well,
I like
and
that.
not only that, but it's an intelligent object.
I was gonna say that's the first thing my mind went to as well. It's a sentient sword.
Yeah,
So
in a sense, it could
You could
be
even say
considered
that
a
it's
creature.
creature in a way. Yeah.
But I don't. A lot of the spells that say target a creature or whatever, unless it's something that specifically interferes with life processes, I don't see why they can't be used on items as well. So.
Oh.
But
Especially at 7th level.
oh yeah.
Come on. Huh.
I know one interesting thing I kind of wanted to hint at, just stepping back about a minute, to where Grog and Pike were talking right before Grog agrees to give it up.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really love that line that Grog had, the I don't want to die from Kevdak, not him. And I actually specifically wrote that down because that broke my heart.
Oh yeah.
It really hammered home the stuff that was going on last episode and even into the episode before that, with just how scared Grog is to go back up against Kevdak again.
Well, here's
And then Pike's response was just beautiful. Was like, well, we don't want you to die from something that's not worth it.
Yeah.
Which,
exactly.
You can die from Kevdak, but you're about to die from a freaking sword. Like, there's nothing glorious in that at all.
Yeah, when they were having that conversation, my thought was, so you're willing to die to something that's less than Kevdak? The
Yeah.
sword is
Right.
nothing.
I'm so glad Pike's back. She's a great voice of reason.
Absolutely.
Yes.
She's beautiful.
Even if she did screw up their dice rolls.
The stealth.
There are numbers.
Ashley
are
did
numbers.
say out at that point, Grog's not. I come back and Grog died. I don't want to be here. I want to go back to New York.
Right.
Yeah, I want to go home.
Oh, that was so heartbreaking. But before they send the sword off, Pike does a greater restoration using the sword as a focus. I know that in the game, or at the table, they were saying that she was casting it on the sword. I think Matt looked at it the way I was thinking about it, as, the sword was the focus that she was using to find that link between the sword and Grog.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she broke the link between the two, and Grog realizes that sword's been using me. And I like when Matt first said that, and Travis just goes, "What?" Such a Grog.
That's my favorite.
It's.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, Kalia, no, go.
I was going to say that's my favorite Travis/Grogism, when Matt tells Travis/Grog something and then he parrots it back in character. I absolutely love that.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing.
Good. And I like that it's very similar to when Percy lost his gun. And he was kind of, what was it, Friends or something? Or something was cast on him, I forget it
Yeah,
so long
Friends
ago.
was cast on him.
Friends, so he came out and he's like, that fucking gnome! And then we had a complete mirror that is, that fucking sword!
Mm-hmm.
That was
Absolutely.
really good. Mirror.
And then once the sword is sent off, Matt pulls out the sheet for Craven Edge.
Oh man.
God, like compared to what the group got, because Travis held them up. They only got about 2/3 of what Craven Edge actually is.
Well, and so Travis gets it, and oh, go ahead, Kat. I keep stepping on you. I'm sorry.
The piece of paper that he handed Grog, was that just a complete explanation of what the sword does? Or was that
Yes.
something else? I thought so. Okay.
No. What he
I thought
handed,
maybe I was...
what he handed Travis is what I have linked down below, and it's that picture that Kalia shared with us and Matt that she got from Matt's Dropbox.
Awesome.
And you know,
It's the reason why you identify your shit, people.
Yeah.
well, they didn't have anybody to really do so. But
They could have.
and Travis is, oh fuck you. He just it's like a Travis signature now.
That was great.
Yes. So they decide that even though they just took a short rest, they're going to go ahead and mansion up and take a long rest. And Percy goes to Tinker, and Vex joins her, or joins him. Percy's gone gender swapped, apparently. At least in my head. Sorry.
Not in this canon. Not in this canon.
But you know, Kat, you've got here in the notes that you took. Ship sails engaged. I actually saw a number of that comment in the Geek and Sundry chat as well.
Yep. It's a big ship. A lot of people are on the Vex Taliesin ship.
Persileth
And
or Persalia. The Persalia ship.
I'm
I kind of
slowly
think
getting into it.
right. I know I'm screwing up names all over the shop. I'm so sorry. Right from episode 1, I kind of picked up on that chemistry as well. Um, and kind of been watching it from afar, wondering if anything is going to happen, and just little things that have been happening recently. I'm kind of like, oh, maybe there is something there. And then he drops this line, and the look he gives Keyleth after he drops it, and she kind of nudges him like, you did it. I don't know.
It very much gave me the feeling of Percy being the high school nerd and Vex being the high school cheerleader, not the head cheerleader, just a cheerleader that likes the high school nerd but doesn't want to say anything.
Yes, that's perfect. That's it.
Yeah.
Now, see, this is why I fail at shipping, because I completely missed all of that.
That line, though, it was so precious, and it's that it was actually agreeable. That was so precious.
Yeah, that was his line. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So
I actually wrote it down
should do
just because.
Yeah, I completely missed all of that. I saw it, but it did not engage ship sales for me. I was oblivious, completely oblivious.
Kalia, the only reason why it triggered my ship sales was because of the nudge from Keyleth. That's the only reason why, and I, the entire time I was doubting myself. I'm like, am I reading too much into this?
Marisha's on board.
So
Yep.
watch that closely.
So, but Scanlan takes some time to write a note, and the next day they travel back towards Westruun, stop at the refugee camp. But I thought it was rather interesting that Matt went ahead and had the refugees find a place at a nearby town instead of taking Vox Machina's offer to go to Westruun, or to Whitestone.
And see, I thought part of them did go, but I thought it was just like a small group that went to Whitestone. Yeah.
Yes, a small group did.
Yeah.
But I figured that considering the proximity to Westruun and wherever the Green Dragon went, that the refugees would be a little more looking forward to going to Whitestone because it's further away. But I don't know. It's hard to judge that particular decision because I can also see them wanting to stay. Wanting to be close to home so they can help liberate it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. It was a strange decision all around, and don't know.
So,
Did we want to talk about the note that Scanlan gave to Pike?
well,
Yeah, he kind of glossed over that.
Oh, I didn't gloss over that. I was going to get it because they did a match after they got closer to.
Did I get this in the wrong order?
Slightly, because they went.
I'm sorry.
They went up to Westruun and they found what happened after they left with Reggie's death.
Poor Reggie.
Yeah, somebody had found Horace's body, and Reggie had told them that he did it in order to essentially protect Vox Machina. And
so they found that out. They found that out by a Speak to Dead. Oh, I can't think of the name. What's the name of it?
Talk to the Dead.
Speak to Dead.
Now, is that something that only the caster can speak to the person?
It really depends on the DM.
Right.
There are some DMs that rule it that the person's spirit is called from the afterlife, and there's a ghostly apparition that the caster can see and speak with. But then the way Matt was running it was the body animated so that everybody could do so.
Sorry. You've cut out again, Akiva.
Ugh. I hate my internet.
Leah, you cut out too. Oh no.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Kalia?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. As I was saying, there are two different ways to run that. One being, a spirit that only the caster can see, or the body animating, which is the way Matt did it, so that everybody can talk to it.
Yep. Because I remember Matt did it in a previous episode. Oh,
No, go ahead.
sorry.
No,
You cut out again, so I can't actually hear you. Yeah. I remember when he did it in a previous episode, and he made it quite clear that only one person could speak to the dead. And then in this one he did it differently. But I like this way of doing it because then everyone can jump into the conversation. It gets a bit tedious, I think, if you
Well,
just
I
got
mean,
one person.
reading through the spell, it says until the spell ends, you can ask the corpse up to 5 questions, which makes me think
That's
caster only. But if the rest of the party, the way I would play it with the rest of the party jumping in and interacting is that they're asking, the caster is actually physically asking. It's like a relay, basically. And so just for time's sake, go ahead and let that happen.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But I would let the caster have final say. So if the party's like, ask this and this and this, and the caster asks something completely different, that's what rules. That's that's what gets answered.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so after talking with Reggie, because Reggie had been put in the field as a scarecrow, and Vax had pulled him down, brought him to the group, and then went and put him back. They scout out the city a little bit, and it's pretty late at night, or pretty late in the day, rather. So, they go ahead and mansion up a second time with Vax and Vex keeping watch.
Oh.
And that's when Scanlan gives Pike the note.
Right, yes.
Now, the note was supposed to be read if Scanlan died. But, of course, Ashley being Ashley and Pike being Pike, or rather, Ashley being Pike, goes ahead and reads it. Yes, goes ahead and reads it, and the world wants to know what it said, but nobody has said anything about it on the Twitter. Kat, I don't know if they said anything on Reddit.
Nope. I could not find it anywhere.
So,
You guys know, if listeners know, in the chat
Yeah,
below,
I
please.
haven't seen anything. I've been
I'd love
looking.
to see more information. Yeah.
But then Taliesin, of course, is like, Ashley, I'm so proud of you right
Oh,
now.
that was beautiful.
yes, yes. But
It's so good. And the look on Scanlan's face, or Sam's face, was just like, oh my god, she didn't. Like, he was so shocked.
Yep. So, of course,
I do need to talk about them waiting for the dragon, though, because I know I was in chat just going, this can't be good. This can't be a good thing.
Oh.
I did not like them waiting. I get the worst vibes about them waiting. I don't know.
I was a little worried about it, but I got the feeling that, it made more sense in the long run.
Now, I want to talk about this scene too, because I know Matt is amazing, and we all agree with that, but somehow he just brought this scene to life. I don't know if it had that effect on you guys.
Totally.
When he was explaining it to me, I could practically hear the wings of the dragon, and just the impact. It was just,
Best dragon sounds ever.
Yeah,
I want to know how he
Matt does.
does
Yep.
it.
Matt's not only great with voices; he's great with sound effects too.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I'm
So,
sorry.
So I'll
yeah,
just take a moment and admire Matt's sounds. Yes.
indeed.
We're just.
So after the dragon passes by collecting its tribute, the twins go inside the mansion, get their little bit of rest. And they start planning on how to actually attack the city. And I don't know exactly how to say it, so I'm just going to be blunt. They ran into the same problem that Desert Winds ran into.
Yep. Yep. Thursday had 2 failed planning sessions, and you guys spent a long time planning. A long time planning, and then you're like, you know what? At this point, we just have to just dive right in. And same thing happened with Critical Role. Now, this led me to thinking about it, because as I was watching, and they're talking planning not working, and I was thinking back to Desert Winds, going, nope, their plans didn't work either. I'm like, and no party I've ever been in, when we plan, does it ever go well? So that led me to think about potentially coming up with a new class or an archetype, and it's called the Party Planner. And the Party Planner, that is their designated role. Whenever the party gets into a situation where they need to plan, they get bonuses and advantage potentially on upcoming things. And like Matt had that orchestral bard,
Yes.
maybe the Party Planner is a... There we go. See, I'm building it on the fly. This is improv. Works for me.
Yeah. I
Bard
like it. I like this.
subtype
Class.
Party Planner, and you
Insight,
gain...
division, and insight. Yeah.
Yeah, you get bonuses, and you can help orchestrate the plan to make it go better and reshape events and stuff. So there you go. I'll try
You
working
can have,
on
like,
it. Put it
some
up
sort
on
of an
DM's Guild
ability.
soon.
Where you
But
can
do
see
they
into the future
actually-
for a little bit,
The
and
question
then
is,
like
though,
see where that would go, and then ditch that one, and see into another future for a little bit. And
Yeah.
ditch that one.
So
but
I like
do they
it.
actually get an XP bonus if the other PCs go along with this plan? Because PCs are the inherent flaw in any plan.
well, the army has a saying that no plan survives first contact. Once you meet with the enemy, all plans are out the window.
Especially
So-
if first contact is Scanlan.
Yes.
Cock lightning.
Oh, good idea. It's time.
So, as part of the planning, Keyleth goes out and does her little earth shaping or move earth spell and creates a pit that ends up being something like 200 or so feet deep. I think he said it was like 180 total because of the time and all that. But that's a hell of a drop.
Yeah. And a crap ton of earth.
Yes.
Yeah,
a lot of
that's-
earth being displaced.
So that's 96 damage
Yes.
on vanilla rules.
Yes.
Okay.
And I was in both chats screaming, "Place spikes at the bottom! Place spikes at the bottom!" But I don't think she actually did.
Lost you, Akiva. What did you say?
I said
Chats?
in both chats I was saying, I was screaming, "Put spikes at the bottom! Put spikes at the bottom!" I don't think she actually did, but added damage there.
Did she do something with gunpowder?
Yes, she actually laced she left a little bit of earth so that the lighter weight individuals can walk across it.
Yeah.
And she put gunpowder in there to cause an explosion to force it to collapse at will.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
But I see here in the notes you had a question regarding the spell.
Yeah, well, it was a question that came up in chat a lot, so I thought we could discuss it. It does make sense.
Are you going to ask the question, or do you want me to?
Oh, sorry. No. I was used to just leaving you to just say everything. Some people are confused about because that's so much Earth being displaced or moved. Where would it have moved to?
So this is there's another. This one is very similar to the question that was asked when
Yes.
Marisha did the control water. Where did the air come from? Where did the water go? And that sort of thing. With the water, it's pretty common knowledge. Water doesn't compress. So when you move water, control water, it has to go somewhere. And so when they were swimming through that tunnel, Matt had mentioned that the water had spilled out over the sides on either end.
Yep.
Earth, however, can compress. So in my mind, she was shaping it and yeah, in my mind, she was shaping it and pushing it to the side, compressing it into either rock or just more tightly packed earth.
That was kind of how I saw it. Just kind of push, 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 push.
I like that. So she's really highly
like
compacting
digging.
it.
Yeah,
Well,
not digging.
and the
just
actual
kind of tunneling.
Yeah, the actual spell itself says that you can reshape dirt, sand, or clay in the area in any manner you choose for the duration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So keep going on. It says you can raise or lower the area's elevation, create or fill in a trench, erect or flatten a wall, or form a pillar.
Yeah. I like that it's compacting it.
Yeah. So in a sense,
that makes sense.
In a sense, she just created a trench. But then Scanlan goes in to do a little bit of scouting and distraction. Originally, the plan was for either to do an illusory Grog, but Scanlan's too small for that. Maybe polymorph into a Goliath, but that polymorph only works on beasts or as beast shapes. And then maybe illusion as Grog's father, but again too small. So they decide on a floating skull, and then that goes right out the window because Scanlan just turns invisible and goes scouting.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if that was his change in plan or if he was going to invisible himself up and then turn into a skull, or when that changed.
I think that's what he was planning on doing, was invisibling in and then doing it. What he ended up doing was, that thunder wave, and he was going to do that to get their attention and then do the skull. But of course, once you make an attack while you're invisible,
I love that he never remembers that. Sam never remembers that. Nope. I just call it pulling a Sam now.
Indeed.
Go in, fuck invisibility. Here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So while he is stalking through the city, he passes by a church, and there is someone who sees him. Now, just seeing through the illusion of being invisible is not enough to break the invisibility, and fortunately, it wasn't one of the Goliaths. So.
Now there was a lot of speculation in chat too about how could this person see through him and stuff, and I'm like, well, there's a number of different spells that could be cast, but there's also items like gems of true seeing that would allow you to see the invisible person, as well as if they were shape-shifted, their true form, etc., etc.
Yeah, here's the flip side of that, though. Invisibility is an illusion spell. I mean, yes, you can see through the person, but if you have enough of a save, enough wisdom or perception, you can see through that to realize, oh, there's actually someone there.
Right. So when you cast invisibility, you still leave footprints. You still can knock things over and make noises and things like that, which is why he had to do a stealth roll on top.
Yes.
Yep.
So you're thinking maybe he
And
failed
any
his stealth check.
objects he's carrying after he casts it do not become invisible.
Indeed. The way I like to think of invisibility is it's like the Predator's chameleon, where the Predator goes quote-unquote invisible. When they move,
Ooh,
there's
I like
still a little bit of a distortion,
Yeah.
but for all intents and purposes, they're invisible. So, that's the way I like to think about it, or think of it. But yeah,
I like how chat was just as quick as I was to go, oh my god, is it Wilhan?
yeah. There a
We need
lot of
to know.
Even
speculation
the
about that.
cast, even the cast was pretty quick.
Yes.
They're all hoping. We're all of us.
Oh man, it's
are
gonna
hoping.
gut Pike if they don't find Grandpa, man.
I'm so scared he's going to be dead.
Yes.
If Matt
I
does
know.
that to Pike, there's going to be a revolt.
Honestly, I wouldn't put that past Matt.
Neither
not
would
at
I.
all, not for a second.
No.
It makes too much sense. It really
Yeah,
does.
it does. From a DM's perspective, as Kalia likes to say, I would do that myself.
Yes.
Just-
Emotional
Please.
manipulation.
So, oh gosh, we'll see.
I may be an evil DM, but I'm your biggest fan, guys.
Absolutely. You guys can't be heroes if we
Oh.
don't give you the
If we
situation
don't-
to be heroic.
Yeah.
The motivation to
exactly.
be heroic. So as Scanlan's doing his thing, Keyless and Percy, turn into crows.
Talison's bro is perfect, man.
Actually, and he was doing it so often, as Taliesin was saying, it was very cathartic. So he was doing it so often, Matt had to tell him stop it.
It was
I
beautiful.
thought he was telling Marisha to stop it because hers was horrible.
he was telling it to both of them, and he actually mentioned, that's enough now. Too much.
Really bad.
But
So I have decided that when I do meet Taliesin, I'm going to caw at him, and we are going to caw together, and it's
Oh
going
my
to be
God.
glorious and wonderful.
I hope to God
Paris,
I'm
you
in
will
the.
Do that.
I hope to God
Yeah,
I'm
we'll
in the
periscope.
room with you guys. I hope to
We'll
God I'm in the
periscope.
room with you guys, so that I can be like, yeah, he's over there across the room. Caw to him, and just you guys start cawing back and forth, Marco Polo style.
You have
He
wood
would too. He so would.
Yes, he would. So then, they're keeping an eye out. Scanlan, after he does his scouting thing, he goes back to where the mayor's mansion is, does his thunder wave, invisibility drops, and he's like, shit.
Oops.
Someone forgot.
Yep. So he starts dimensioning his door, or dimension dooring his way back to the church that he saw, and lo and behold, what does he find?
Dr. Dre.
Dr. Drenzel.
Yes. And his daughter.
Kaylee. Oh, man.
Now, unfortunately, I didn't write down her exact words, but I think it was something along the lines of, "Oh, it would be you."
I think it was like, yeah, why did it have to be you? Or,
Yeah.
Something
that was
horrible
the
like
message that was conveyed.
Uh-huh.
Oh, she said, "Oh, great, it's you."
Yes.
Yes.
Those were her words. Oh, great, it's you.
It's perfect. I love the way he ends it.
Oh man. But that is where they ended the episode. Such a long episode, and so little actually happened after Grog died.
It was all just planning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like an hour of it was just solid planning that didn't at all happen.
Oh, but yeah, that was. Everybody. I don't know. There was so much hype surrounding the 50th episode that once Grog died and came back, we were like, okay, no more hype. Stop the train.
Nothing else happened.
Let's go
Walk
back
on
to normal
eggshells,
now.
guys. Walk on eggshells.
We're good, Matt. Thanks. You can stop now.
One thing I did mean to kind of mention when we were talking about Grog dying was from the Periscope last night when Matt had just kind of offhandedly talked about how high Grog's Constitution bonus is. So it's like, well, the odds of him actually dying were not that high.
If it weren't for a natural one.
Oh, you cut out Akiva.
I was saying, if it wasn't for that natural one.
It wasn't all the exhaustion.
He had all the chat panicking, though.
Oh,
Yeah. That stupid one.
my internet is being stupid because everybody went robotic there for a split second.
That's okay, you did too.
So,
And we're back.
yes. So that will round out that episode and bring us to our our DM's corner question.
Woo.
And this is something that I wanted to talk about for a little while, and there was what brought it back to my mind was that there were some questions asked to Chris Perkins over on Twitter about the CR rating of a creature. Like exactly what it is, how it works, why it's there, and that sort of thing. And Clea, you say, you have in the notes that you have the CR pulled up.
I do. I believe it. Since I'm using Fantasy Grounds DM's guide, I don't have page numbers for everybody, but it is in the DM's guide, and it's in the section called "Creating a Combat Encounter." Now, challenge rating is a huge mathematical formula. So unfortunately, there's no real easy way to cover this. But there are some guidelines. There's actually a table that talks about encounter difficulties. And for characters of first level, the XP threshold is 25, medium is 50, 75 is hard, and deadly is 100 XP. Now, those 4 different levels, easy, medium, hard, and deadly. Challenge rating assumes an average party level of between 4 and 6 characters, all at the same level. Mm-hmm. So, challenge rating, 4 to 6 characters, level 1, they should be able to take on a challenge rating 1 without any issue.
So, just to throw this in there real quick, a good rule of thumb is if they are facing a single creature and you have a party of 4, 5, or 6 players, the challenge rating should be equal to the average party level. So let's say all characters are level 5. They should be able to take on one CR5 creature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It gets a little bit different if you have more or less, but that's a good rule of thumb to work with.
Well, and again, I mean, the entire mathematical formula is laid out in the chapter. Now, granted, when I was trying to learn about challenge rating several months ago, I had to reread this chapter so math and my brain do not get along. If you have 3 party members, you reduce by 1.5 times, I think it is. If you have more than that, you increase by 1.5 times the XP threshold. There's a multiplier that happens, which will change your effective XP level, which sets your challenge difficulty. That does not determine how much XP the party gets. That is simply for determining the difficulty of the encounter and that threshold. So
Okay,
they give an example here. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, to simplify what Kalia's saying, each creature is listed with a CR as well as the amount of XP awarded for killing it. The correlation is when
Oh, you got out.
the correlation between
The amount of you cut out. So the amount of XP.
Yeah, hold on. There's a correlation between a creature's CR and the amount of XP awarded for killing that creature. The CR is a quick reference for the Wizards of the Coast to say, if you have 4 characters at this level, this is the creature it can go up against.
Yeah.
When you're creating an encounter, you want to look at the XP amount total given across however many creatures and creature types that you're given. It's not quite as simple as just adding up the CR. You can do it that way, and I have seen it done that way effectively. It's not always that simple.
It's
Gotcha.
rating. Go check out the tables. Go read this chapter.
Yes.
Yeah, the formulas are all there. It's
And then if you still don't get it, we've plugged this website before. Go to kobold.club/fight. That's KOBOLD.club/fight. And everything in the 5th edition DMG, these formulas have all been input onto that site. So you can go in and you can choose your party numbers. I have 6 party members right now, or 5 actually. I have 5 party members right now. They are all level 5. And then I can start picking, oh, hey, I want to throw them up against Marrow. How many Marrow is a good challenge for them? Now,
10 is too many, Kalia.
I know. I figured that out real quick. Had I actually done proper planning, I would have realized that.
It's okay.
I really second Kobold Club. I use it extensively for the group I run.
nice.
I have a very special group that I run. I actually run a group for several autistic teenagers, all kind of on various levels with what they're cool with doing. So what I tend to do is I just plug my information into the layout they have there, and then I modify from there. So it's like, I know, okay, this particular group of people's not too big on fighting. We don't do a lot of battle encounters. So I'll tend to do things like slow the enemy down a little bit, or I'll modify a 3-attack enemy to be a 2-attack enemy, that sort of thing. It allows for a lot of flexibility. It's nice.
Yeah, there are a lot of good random encounter generators that you can use. You can put CR and XP in, and it kind of figures it out for you, which is definitely something that I would bump as a newer DM and a newer person at Dungeons & Dragons and tabletop gaming. When I looked at that table and I looked at that chapter, I almost wanted to cry.
Me too. And I've been on board since 2nd edition, and I'm with you. I'm not a math person either.
Now, also for anybody out there, if you know that I use Fantasy Grounds, for anybody that is using Fantasy Grounds, if you go into your go into your NPCs tab, and then you go into the Encounters button, you can drag and drop your monsters in there, and in the upper left-hand corner, you hit the refresh arrow, and it will tell you what the challenge rating and the total XP threshold are for that encounter. So it's automatically calculated within Fantasy Grounds as well.
Yeah, the only other thing that I would say about challenge rating is that it does also assist with abilities as well. So you get a lot of creatures that have immunities to things, as said in the chapter in the book. Different creatures have different abilities and different is immune to different things as well. And that's something else challenge rating kind of takes into account. So have a look at that when you're planning your encounters, when you're planning the creatures that you're going to put against your party, what your party can do and what these creatures are going to do to your party, and how that might impact an encounter. Because I've been screwed by that as a DM, not particularly paying much attention to what my players can do, and they've also almost TPK'd because I've put them up against something that, I just shouldn't have done. It was just in a bad spot, had, too many of them, whatever. I just put them up against way too many hellhounds in a last session, for example. And that vibe really is a bitch. So, in a very close encounter, like in a very enclosed space. So you just got to think about those things, because you'd hate your party to be like, we were never going to win this. That's the worst feeling.
Yep.
Now, I will say this. Challenge rating is not an absolute.
No.
Because I am an evil DM, back in the early days of Desert Winds, when we were first getting started, I put the party up against a CR 10. They were level 3.
And feel free to do that.
Now, here's the thing. They had picked up they picked up a magical staff, and I can't remember which staff it is right off the top of my head, but it's the epic staff that has ungodly spells in it.
Nice.
And one of the party members was like, "Are you sure you want us to have this, Kalia?" And I said, yes. Because I was fine with it, because I knew that come the upcoming fight, if the party used it properly, it would help them survive.
Right.
And it did. The wizard ended up casting a water elemental, which was basically able to tank for the party, because the big bad got its attack off and almost one-shotted the paladin. Almost dropped her to 0 hit points. Which that character had, in her backstory, she was the type that just goes running in. She didn't think about the danger. And with she's done it countless times, even throughout Desert Winds now. She did it again recently. With a hellhound, as a matter of fact.
Them hellhounds.
So she went running in, this thing swung at her and made her pause a little bit, and she went, okay, new tactics.
I think with... Go ahead.
Well, I was basically just going to say, so it is okay to throw something higher CR at your party, but you have to be very aware of their abilities and be very aware that it is possible that if your creature hits, and it's more than likely going to hit, that you may have to be prepared to fudge numbers and nerf dice and stuff.
Yes. The CR rating is a guideline,
I think,
just like every other rule out there. Don't be afraid to modify the monster to fit the situation.
What were you going to say?
And there's also rules in the back of the DMG about how to modify CR ratings. Now go. I'm shutting up.
Oh, no. I'm. What I was going to say is you've also got to take into account the fact that CR rating is not an absolute. I know one issue I ran into DMing for Pathfinder back when I was still doing a lot of Pathfinder is you'll get things like in one of the old Pathfinder Society modules, the big bad for a group of level 1 to 3s was like a level 5 or 6 magus. And it would wreck any party of that actual level. And it just because it was not balanced at all. Especially if you're running a pre-written module, you really need to do your research and go back and look at the actual abilities, the situation, and it all came down to how the DM was running it. You're not supposed to run this big bad at full power. You're supposed to run it at, say, maybe half power. And you really got to be aware of your creatures or your big bads.
Or like I did with Sweet Suffering. I had a party of level 8 going up against a CR 20 Ancient Black Dragon. He was supposed to be a reoccurring character, but so what I did,
smoked him.
They ended up smoking him because what I had done was I had given them the ability to summon some assistants, and the assistants that I had was a little more effective than I had planned for, and the party killed him outright.
Oh no!
So,
like
okay.
Mercer says, sometimes you got to create an encounter they're supposed to run from.
Well,
and that too, yeah.
With that level 3 encounter, the challenge rating 10 that I had for my party, I had fully intended for him to escape. Because one of the abilities, it was a death slot that they were facing. One of the abilities that the death slot have is planar shift. So they can touch themselves and shift back to the abyss. No, not the abyss. It's not the abyss, though. It's limbo. It's the plane of limbo.
The best plane.
They're aberrations.
Doing the limbo.
So he was supposed to planar shift out, and the water elemental got an attack just before his turn.
Nice.
And did enough damage that I couldn't fudge it or anything, and so it ended up killing him. And I figured, you know what, party morale was kind of low at that point. They needed that win. Off they went.
Yeah. Sometimes the party just needs a big win.
Yeah.
So that is just a quick, believe me, despite how long we've been going on about it and the tangents we've gone off on, that was a quick look at CR rating.
It's because it's what we do, Akiva. We create encounters. Let's. You've pretty much asked a very simple question, but it's like the epitome of everything that we do.
Well, yes. The reason I chose this was more for a behind the scenes look of how we DMs think.
But
But
can I just say, before we close our corner, are you guys going to be checking out Acquisitions Incorporated? They're going live.
Yep. They are live tomorrow at, let's see, translate it to Pacific time. It's going to be 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific time, 1 o'clock Eastern time.
yes.
Either on Wizards_D&D Twitch, or there's another channel.
The PAX
you can watch it on
channel.
The PAX channel, but I think with PAX you might have to pay for it. I don't know. No. Okay.
It is a free broadcast. You do have to pay if you want to watch the rebroadcast. So for those of you that are watching this, on YouTube as it's going up, it was yesterday. We apologize for that if you missed it.
I thought you could
It was amazing.
I'm sorry, guys. It's 3 a.m. for me, so my husband and I are contemplating getting up for it. I don't know. We don't know. It's worth it.
I set a reminder on Google today so that I wouldn't forget it.
No. Yeah, I'm just putting it on YouTube. You can maybe watch it rebroadcasted on a sunscreen somewhere. If I can find a place where you can actually watch it, I'll have a scope tomorrow. Put it up on my Twitter. But if you have Acquisition, guys, do it. It's fantastic.
And if you guys missed it, it will be going up in approximately 2 weeks on the Penny Arcade YouTube channel.
Oh, there you go.
So
you only have to wait 2 weeks. if I can't
Indeed.
find it beforehand.
Indeed.
And I will be looking.
So, bringing everything to a close, if you enjoyed the episode, cast hex and click that like button, and subscribe to catch us each and every week. Send in any of your D&D questions to us using DM's Corner. And if you want to submit art, please contact us via Twitter. Don't forget, Gilmore's Glorious Gossip has its own Twitter account. You can reach that one at Gilmore_gossip. Or you can reach any of us, or any of the hosts. I'm Akiva David at AKIVADAPHYDD.
I'm Cosmic Candy at COSMICCANDI.
And I'm Kat at KittensmittenG on Twitter. Have a nat 20 day, guys.
We hope you enjoyed it. Until next week, kick back, relax, and enjoy your games.
May all your hits be crits.